Right, welcome back. Time to crack on. As you can see, I've got half the contents of the brewery outside at the moment, because what we're going to be doing today is fitting the sump pump in, as you can see just there, into the manhole. We've emptied out half the brewery, so what we're going to do is we're going to paint this half over to the other side of the channel. Going to give that a few days to cure, then we're going to move everything over and then we're going to paint the other side. So first job, get the pump in, get the electric sorted, and then go from there. So back in a minute. Right, let's have a look at this pump then. So it's a Clark 1.5 inch 750 watt submersible pump with built-in float switch. Pretty explanatory really. You can see in there there's a float switch. So this doesn't have the separate float switch, this is an internal float switch. And I thought it was only able to hold solids up to 25 minutes, actually 35 minutes, so that's good. There's a few adapters inside, we'll open up in a sec. What we're going to do is we're going to, excuse the beat, we're going to connect this 1 inch reinforced hose, and that's going to come up through one of these pipes and we'll connect into this white pipe here that leads out to the drains. So first job, let's get the pump out of the box. So, excuse me, I'm doing this one-handed. So here's the adapter. Looks like it steps from different sizes. I'm hoping that some of the fittings on this hose will screw directly onto that 1 inch threaded connection there. Let's see if it does. Oh, bear with me. So there's the pump. It's got a pretty long lead on it, which is good. What I'm going to have to do is take that plug off. Looks like I'm going to have to cut that off. So I'm going to have to take that plug off so we can feed the cable underground and back out of one of these pipes here, and then we'll eventually connect that up to this redundant socket here. So first things first, let's deal with the reinforced hose and then we'll deal with the power cable. Back in a minute. So first thing to note, this screw thread here is not compatible with any of these connections here. Not a problem. What we'll do is we'll just remove one end and just couple that straight on, and we'll reuse the hose clamp as it is and get things connected up that way. So no big issue, should be fine. So as you can see, that's going to connect on there just fine. We'll just reuse the hose clamp and we'll disconnect that from there because that's going to be the wrong fitting to go into this pipe here anyway. So we're just going to trim that spout, those barbs off. We don't really need those extra barbs, although I could leave them on, not really doing any harm. Why make work? I'll leave them on, they're going to be fine. So yeah, we'll get that threaded through this hole down into the manhole, get this connected to the pump, and then we'll crack it with the power cable. Back in a minute. Right, first little hiccup. This tube here, this sort of semi-rigid tube, won't quite come around the corner with the pipe at the bottom there. And I can't reach down with the pliers or anything else to grab the end of it and pull it up. So what I'm going to have to do, well what I have done, is I've threaded the tape measure down through the hole and into the sump basin. And the plan is I'm going to put a hole in the end of the pipe, the tube sorry, and I'm going to attach one end of this dead bungee cord, so there's no stretch in it, it's just dead. I'm going to close that with a pair of pliers so it doesn't come off, and I'm going to tape this end onto the end of the tape measure and then pull it back through the hole and hopefully that will enable me to just wrestle the pipe. Once I've got it past the corner, it should be easy to get the rest out. So let's give this a go. Right, so here we are, hooked into the end of the tube, taped to the tape measure, and let's see if this works. Success! Right, as you can see, little hack worked. Managed to pull it through. It was dead easy once I got it around the corner. Now I just got to pull the rest of the pipe up and good to go. So I'll probably use the same method for getting the cable through. Once I strip the plug off, seems to work a treat. Back in a bit. Right, same method for the electrical cable. Cut the plug off, as you can see. I've got another one to replace it. We'll pull that through and should be fine. We'll reconnect the plug back up, get the pump in, and that should be done. Back in a minute. And here we go, successfully out the other end of the pipe. So we'll take that off, we'll whack a plug on it, pull the rest of the cable through, get the pump in, get it all connected, done, job done. Right, pump connected, goes all the way into that outlet tube there. That's the tube in from the inlet from the floor drain, and then goes all the way and it pops out here, and then the cable next to it. So let's drop this in. Let's figure out how much cable we need to leave in the hole, and then we'll give it a try. See if it works. See if this has been a good cost saving or a waste of time and money to dig a big hole, fill it back in and put a pump in. I guess we'll find out in the next few minutes. Back in a minute. Right, pump's in the hole. Got a hose pipe going in. Gonna run some water in. Just got it running outside for now, just to make sure it all works before I connect it up. So I don't know how long it's going to fill up for before it starts working, but let's give it a go, shall we? See what happens. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but there's water going in the tub. Nothing happening yet. Pump's on. Definitely nothing happening yet. A little bit concerning. Just going to stop it there. Just going to check the just put you down for a second. I'm just going to check this float. Turned it on. It's not actually pumping. Oh, hang on, it is. It's just trying to prime itself. There we go. Let's get a bit more water. go, it's starting to come up. It just needs to get itself primed. There we go, it's starting to come out now. Yeah. Switch that back to automatic flow. I guess I'll just wait to see how deep it gets before it needs to automatically turn on. Guess we're not there yet. Certainly coming up a lot higher than I thought it would. Still, I'll give it a bit. First time using one of these, so. And it is fully submersible. And I know it pumps, so I could let it go all the way over the top, just so you can see what happens. At the current rate, looks like that's what we're having to do. Oh, there we go. That's definitely working. Right, turn the water off and let that pump out. Success! Bit of a flood out there, but that'll drain away. Not worried about that. Bit of crap coming back in. Might have to put a non-return valve on this. Not a problem. It works! Look at that! I built something that works! Well, there you go. Sump pump working. Job done. Right, we can move on now and paint the floor. Excellent. Back in a bit. Right, here we go. Painting. Going for red this time. We had grey past few years. So now we're going to go red. Just for a change. So yeah, put the first coat down. So we're going to paint roughly, I'd say 2/3 of the way across. Let this dry. And then we can move all the kit over to this side. And then we can paint the other side. Chances are after today I'm not going to be able to get back to this for at least another 4 or 5 days. So that should give it enough time to cure and harden enough to walk on, put stuff on. There'll be a little bit of cutting in around the edges to do. I could have done that first, but I decided not to. I wanted to get the coating down because it's a nice hot day. I want to give it maximum chance to harden while it can. And if I cut in around the edges later, nothing's going to be touching that stuff. It can dry in its own time. So I haven't got an issue with that. That should be fine. Once I've got all the kit over on this side, I think I've mentioned it before, I'm then going to get access to that side of the wall over here, and we will finish off sorting out the sockets and the conduit and getting all that put in place, and then we'll turn our attention up to the extraction system. It's currently got 3 inlets on it. We only need one, so we're going to take the two off on the right hand side, and we're just going to connect up to the one on the left up onto the fan unit, which will then extract outside. If that causes an issue for any of the neighbours, I'll just have to switch to a condensing unit, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. We're fairly well ventilated around here, and the nearest houses are quite a distance away, so I'm not overly concerned about that. But like I say, if there are any issues, I've got a method to correct it. So I don't think it's going to take long to finish this off. It's going down fairly quickly. It's polyurethane paint. It's not, I haven't gone for epoxy because cost. And to be honest, this stuff, the grey stuff, is exactly the same stuff I've got now, but in red. And that's been down for about, what, 3 or 4 years. And it really has stood the test of time. But that is the challenge, isn't it? The test of time. Let's see what happens to this once it's had a few rounds of chemicals and stuff spilt on it. But, you know, at 45 quid a tin, it's not a massive space. If I have to touch up or repaint, that's just what I'll do for now. Like I say, the cost of putting down a full epoxy floor, I just haven't got the money for that. So we're doing it cheap and nasty, but hopefully effective. I'll be back in a bit. Right, there we go. First coat down. Give that 24 hours, 48 hours to harden off. Cut the edges in. A little bit around the pipe work to do there. But that job's done. Sump pumps in, works. You've seen that working. Electrical cable's a bit long at the moment. I'll decide whether or not to cut that down. I might just leave it as it is. Let's wait and see. Yeah, not bad. It's starting to look a little bit more like a brewery again. So what's left to do? After this, paint the other half, do the electrics. All the paperwork for AWRS and APPA is in and running. I think they've got about 6 or 7 days left of the 45-day period. Now I know it can be a lot more than that. I haven't heard anything. I think I submitted everything. I guess we'll find out in the next week, 2 weeks. Hopefully that all goes through. I guess it. You know, some people get interviews, some people don't. We'll see what happens with that. Ready for it if it comes. Anybody needs any help on that front or any advice about the paperwork, I'm certainly happy to share what I've done in the past. Obviously I'll miss out some of the personal stuff, but you're more than welcome to learn from my learnings and other people's learnings. I got a lot of help from people like Rob Miller at Screen Brew Company. So yeah, that's there if you need any help. Other jobs to do. I need to renovate some of these tanks. The kettle needs a bit more work on the timber. The mash tun's reasonably okay. And the fermenter, I need to double check the cooling system on that. I don't know if I damaged it. If I have, I'm going to have to replace that. HLT tank and the fermenters here, they're all going to have a bit of a clean. In fact, I might do that while these are outside. Set the pump up outside and just sort of empty these straight into the drains. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. And then I can pressure hose them down while I'm out here as well, rather than sort of make a mess in the new painted brewery. Because I don't want to get it dirty just yet. Because I've still got stuff to do. But yeah, not bad progress. I had to take a bit of time off last weekend. I came down with a bit of a skin infection on my abdomen, which was blooming painful. I've had things like cellulitis before. It's one of the things I'm prone to with my medical stuff. But yeah, on my abdomen and into my groin, that was a different one. I wasn't feeling 100% last Friday when I was in work, but pushed on, and then when I got home I just absolutely crashed and went into full-blown chills and fever. and that totally wiped me out for 48 hours, 72 hours. I didn't get back to work properly. I mean, I was working from home, but I didn't really feel like I was that effective. But I didn't get back into work until Thursday. Bearing in mind I always work from home on Wednesdays anyway. But yeah, that was, and I only really felt as if I was properly over it on Friday, just gone. So it was good to get back into doing this, because I just wasn't in any fit state to do it. I was just too sore, and it was just too painful. Those of you that had cellulitis, you'll know what I mean. It's not nice. It's pretty nasty. But luckily, it cleared up quickly. I'm on a course of antibiotics anyway to fend it off, as it can be a recurring condition. And luckily, I think they kicked in and just sorted it out in rapid time. Otherwise, I could have been looking at a couple of weeks, maybe longer. I mean, the last time I had it, put me in hospital. So I was thankful for that. Yeah, so that's it for this session. I'll do a bit of cutting in during the week, finish off this side once this is hard enough to walk on. And then probably next weekend we'll move all the big brew kit over, and then we'll do the electrics, and then we'll paint the floor, and then we'll get the electrics commissioned, and then we'll wait for Mr. HMRC to say, you are now a brewer, you can make beer, and then we'll make some beer. So that'll be good. Long time coming. So catch up with you later. Hope you stay well. If you like this, subscribe, recommend it to others. I'm just documenting this for my own personal sanity. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. If there's anything you want me to cover, just tell me. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch up with you later. Bye bye. Right, let's see where we're at. It's been a little while since I caught up on my videos. I've been a bit busy. So what's happened? We have painted the floor. We'll see how good that is. I'm a bit sort of in two minds whether it's going to stay the course, but we'll see. Lake chiller is going to be a project coming up very soon. Floor drain is in, all the way down to the sump pump at the end. We started installing waterproof sockets all the way around, running the cables through for the electrician to connect. Same on this side, and there's all the boxes of covers to go on once they're complete. Box of bits here, working stuff. This box here, we now have accredited hydrometers. So we're all good to go on that. I'll go a little bit more into the registration side of stuff in a bit. The sink has been replumbed, so we've got better connectors on. I had some pretty dodgy hoses on before, so I've now got some stainless steel braided hoses on there, connected all that up. That's all done, that's all plumbed in. I've got a water feed up here, which I need to pin back to that wall. It's just been put up there out the way for now. So that's going to go onto that wall, and that's going to feed the HLT in the corner. There's a sump manhole, and then if you just look round this corner here, you'll see how I've plumbed in, coming out the floor there, the socket, the plug for the pump, and then the clear hose going into that down pipe going into the drain there, and then more sockets on the wall here. So in total we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 double wall sockets to plumb everything into. So what's coming next? I'll just spin you around. So next, so we've gone through our application for AWRS and APPA. APPA we've got the number for that. AWRS, there was a whole bunch of information I had to provide for that. I think last count it was something like 24, 25 bits of information, documents, all kinds of stuff. Had a visit from them on Thursday the 9th of July. So they came here, had a look at the brewery, had a good conversation with me. Lots of questions about my knowledge of duty, how much I'm going to produce, what my supply chain is like, how I'm going to track all the beer that I produce. Luckily, I had already created a paper, well, I say paper, an Excel based system. It's kind of one of the things I do at work. I've based an Excel system which tracked every bag of grain and every ingredient for the beer that comes into the brewery, and where it goes and who it goes to. So it's forward and backward traceable, which is what they want to see. But also I've signed up to Brew, so what I'm going to do, because I'm still learning Brew, there's quite a lot in it, and I'm still trying to work through that. I'll probably initially run both systems at the same time in tandem, just so they're both saying the same thing. And incidentally, that was perceived as a very good move by HMRC. They were quite pleased that I was actually adding that level of backup to my process at such an early stage. And they kind of agreed that once I was happy that everything was okay and the processes were working, that I could just switch to Brew. So that's what I'll do. For the foreseeable, I'll be running both systems. I don't think it's going to be too onerous a task. And if anything, it's just going to widen my knowledge and sort of create some of those automatic protocols that you try and build into every system you try and work with. So that's good. What's next? We need to commission the electrics. That's ready to go now. I just need to get this Sparky in to just do his official bit. We need to run a 100 amp feed into the consumer unit in here. I still need to, all these sockets here on the wall, I'll just turn you around. All these sockets here, they're going to become redundant. We're going to keep the light switch. All this old wiring's going to go, and then up on the wall here I will put the HLT control box, which I have built. I have been looking at the Iron Brew ones, but they're a fair chunk of money, so I'm in two minds what to do about this. We'll see. I may punt for one of those just because there's other features on those I could probably use that won't be on my simple box, but we'll see. There's going to be a bunch of work to do on tanks, some of the wood to be replaced, check the elements, all that kind of stuff, give them a damn good clean. The three fermenters here, they're going to need a damn good clean. There's a hell of a lot of beer stone in one of them, so that's going to have to go through a few cycles of being blasted. But hey, that's the good stuff. I don't mind that. That's just cleaning. And those of you that brew know that most of this project brewing is cleaning. But luckily I've got the floor drain in, so I'm set up to sort these tanks out good and proper without the worry of making a mess on the floor. When are we going to start producing? I'd like to think that we're going to be in a position to get the first beers out, possibly, hopefully, if I get the approval through from AWRS, and it should be due any time, fingers crossed. I don't see why they wouldn't grant it. Hopefully end of August, middle of September. We'll probably start off with a fairly small brew. We can go up to sort of 6 to 8 casks depending on the strength of beer in this cask kit here. We'll probably do half that. And some of the venues I've been speaking to, because I'm a new brewer, they're sort of more inclined to take pins. So I'll probably put the first few pilot batches into pins just to see how it goes. And we'll go slowly. We're going to grow this thing organically. We're going to get everything right, get the processes right. But that's going to be fun. It'll be all right. We've got a bit of recipe development to do. We've got 4 core beers. I'll talk about those in another video. but there are 4 core beers that we're going to produce, which I think will appeal to the market around here. But we're also going to do other stuff as well. Once we learn the nuances of this kit and how it behaves and what we can do with it and how far we can push it, we'll do a few other different things as well. You know, some seasonal stuff, some dark beers at Christmas, some stronger beers, maybe some lagers towards this spring next year, March time. We'll see how it goes. But the thing at the moment is just to start slow. We're nearly there. It's been a bit of a trek. Thanks for those that have followed me. I know I've not been the best at keeping up to date with these videos, but it is genuine because I'm not just doing this, I'm also working full time as well, so, and that takes up a lot of my time. So I've only been able to dedicate time to this as I can, you know, and when you got family, you know, some family things come first as well, so you just got to do that. That's fine. You know, your family's only going to be around for a while. My kids are, you know, once they get older, they may not want to be here with me or mum, so they're probably off doing their own thing. But the good side to that is I'll have more time to brew beer, and hopefully when that happens, I'll be either part-time or retired, which ain't that far off for me. So I'm looking forward to that, and I can dedicate my time to this project, and just have some fun with it. You know, it's been a journey. It's been a few years in the making. It was never intended to be anything too serious. It was always intended to be something that was going to grow organic, and we'll see how that goes. You know, it might take off a storm. It doesn't owe me or anybody any money. It's been done purely through self-financing, so it doesn't have to prove itself. It doesn't have to pay its way. But it'd be nice if it does, obviously. And we'll see. So what's going to be next? A few little odds and sods to do. I've got the I've got the extraction to sort out. That's a fairly quick job. The water pipe, I told you about that. The door at the front, the garage door, up and over door, that's a project for the future. That's going to be a chunk of money to do that, which I think at this moment in time I can better spend elsewhere in the brewery, such as possibly a control system for the HLT. Got that pump to service down there. I've got the bright tank to sort out as well. That needs a good clean. Not been used in a while. Well, basically everything needs a good clean. So the next videos will be focusing on getting everything ready to brew, servicing everything, getting hoses in, getting everything cut to size, getting everything measured up, fitted, water testing, leak testing. I've got 3 maxi chillers to sort out for the fermenters, so I've got some STC 1000s to wire up into those. I'm probably going to have to find another maxi chiller because I've got 4 fermenters and a bright tank, and I've only got 3 chillers, so I don't think that mathematically, I don't think that stacks up. Granted, they might not all be in use at the same time, but there might come a point where they are, so I have to start thinking about how I'm going to chill everything down. Now, I either continue with using maxi 310s or I opt for something like a Vision 21 and get that to do the job of many maxis, basically, which I know you've seen other people do. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's it for me for now. I'll just leave with you a parting shot of my my little servant over there, my little slave, which, if you haven't got one, they're bloody amazing. That thing just happily cuts the grass for hours on end, and it just frees up so much time. Honestly, that's been one of the best things we've got for this garden, because it just allows us to do other stuff. And it's just so clever. It doesn't falter at anything. It just cuts around everything. It's just absolutely brilliant. So anyway, that's it from me. I'll try and do the next video as quick as I can. And yeah, so bye bye for now, and I'll leave you the parting shot of one of the other projects that we're going to be looking at. The Brewzilla, sitting in the shed waiting to be used. A recipe development. Get in. Bye bye for now.